situation, see if they can win the fight. Okay. You don't want to fight if you can't win, and you don't want to do stupid things so that the enemy, or maybe an honorable government who thinks what are these idiots, can put you in jail. Because you're crossing the law, you're doing this, you're doing that, okay? So, what is the type of action this army then would engage in if they decide they are going to defend these rights with real action, maybe with real weapons? For example, there is a political opponent to the ongoing tyranny, because basically now there is a tyranny. You don't need to go into action if there is no tyranny. So people cannot fly on, cannot even say to another person what is their opinion because they land in jail. Well, that would be very bad. No, that is a level of tyranny which is more suitable for System 7, cell resistance. Which is so bad that if you set up this army, you would all land in jail before you got anywhere. Say there is someone who has an opinion against, outspoken opinion against the authorities, when the authorities are going to ostracize and even frame and put in jail that person, because they dare to stand up publicly. Then this military uprising could go back in their quarters. The generals can talk to each other, and the soldiers can talk to each other. The soldiers can appoint new generals if they don't like the decision by the generals. And the public can of course influence these fists. And then they're going to think, what are we going to do about this? Are they then going to engage in a full-scale civil war against the authorities? Maybe, but that is, I don't think that is a very wise decision unless you're absolutely sure you're going to win this in a simple manner. It is perhaps more like, okay, we are going to hide this opponent from the authorities. The several brigades are going to shield this person. That person can then still say what he wants to say, and before the law enforcement of the medium bad tyranny can catch this political opponent, torture and kill them, they have to find them. They have to physically catch them. So, and if this is the type of action that would be a good start. And it's of course always very important to stay on the side of honor and peace and being reasonable. Because that way the general public is going to support this even more, going to join this, and we will win. If we win, this can of course deteriorate into a violent civil war, because if the authorities see a certain brigade or maybe a division shield a certain political person, they may think, we don't like this, we declare war on you. Okay? Then it becomes a war. Then the state attacks this, and then we have to divide, and then it is real war. Okay? If we conduct this war with honor, without terror campaigns, and that's kind of, but we remain honorable, on the side of peace, on the side of reason, the people will more and more think that we are the good guys, we are the disciplined ones, we can be trusted with real power. Then they may go over to our side and we will win. There is another very important part of when we win. There is a land force, a sea force and an air force in the system, but there is also a so-called Purple Brigades force, which is a special army which is specialized in emergency government. So when we win, we are at war, we win, then the generals of the victorious armies, they effectively have the power. And just like that, they lose the power, because then this Purple Brigades is to take over, become the temporary emergency government. They are only to be the government for 9 months, and if they succeed or not, they are going to be booted out. This is the system. They are to be removed from power after 3 months. They have 3 months to engage in emergency supplies to the people and to set up a new government system. Therefore, because it's such a short time, they have to be ready and trained to set up a parliamentary system, this voter group system, well, that's basically the two systems that are open for choice, I think. Maybe in some nations there is another tradition, then they should be able to set that up. Then we get a civil government in place, which then replaces the Purple Brigades themselves. So we win, the generals end up with effectively the sovereignty. This is strike out because they take over. After 3 months they have set something up. And if they have not set something up, then there is maybe nothing. Then they lose this power. Since there are several fists who all appoint their generals, the centralization of power is mild. So if this general wants to engage in a tyranny after the victory, then maybe this fist says no, we have such a general also who wants to engage in tyranny, but we have already replaced them. And these soldiers, after these soldiers, why haven't you? And these soldiers feel pressured, feel the heat. And they think, oh gosh, we have a bad general. This is not going to look good for us. Oh, I was part of this army and our general engaged in this and that, doesn't it? And they can know, because other fists do it better, that they will not get away with it. So they're going to replace their general. And if it all goes bad, what do we do then? Then we erect new military uprising. We take all the good soldiers out of this system, and we're going to have to engage this with this. Try again. In this system, as you might have noticed, the scheme 4 is the revolution from street level. And what is this revolution? What does it need in terms of civil rights? It needs freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. So if we establish those two rights, then there is no political goal that these generals and armies need. So you're going to see, or ideally, boys of They all have to be older than 25. I don't want child soldiers because they have no political understanding. So everybody here in the army, in this system, is older than 25. So that's already going to do a lot of good, I think. No, not child soldiers who will gun down everyone because someone who is 40 told an 18-year-old that it was a good thing and they will believe it because they are so young. So everybody who is in this army is already 25. So that will be roughly 25 until 40, the strong people. I don't care if women are in the army, if they want to. So then we're going to see 10% of the people in this system, this uprising, only trained. They don't have to be bunked in rice camps all the time. They can be in their own home, but they be ready. They be a little bit trained. Maybe 2 weeks a year they are trained. They are ready. They maybe if the danger increases for the tyranny, the training intensifies. Not just shooting, but also supplies, moving, tactics, strategies, etc., etc. City guerrilla war, have to be ready. If the police station is taken over by the criminals, what are you going to do? Ask them to leave? Well, they will then capture you, torture you, and throw the limbs around to threaten the others. If we can win through a Gandhi, we would already have won that in the other methods. This method is not very too violent either. So you're going to have a part of the people is part of this. They protect freedom of speech and freedom of assembly in a reasonable way and also in a strategic way. So if we have established that, then we can engage in the scheme for voter groups in the street. We can set up the councils. We can initiate the new government system, who becomes a civil government, who can take over the nation and rule it reasonably. That is the system.